Okay, so today we're going to build the Ender 3. This printer I got cost around 200 bucks. I'll include a link below. I have an ANET A8 here too. I have a lot of experience with other ones, PrinterBots. My original one was a PrinterBot Simple. I have MakerBots, Ultimakers. Yeah, I have experience with all of them. I don't own all of them, but I have experience with all of them. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to go through this. I've already opened this package just to see, make sure it looked like it was all there. It looks pretty good. So here's the instructions. It comes with a cover. Throw that down there for now. This one's pretty much assembled already. Like there's a lot of it assembled. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through real quick. And we'll take everything out. We'll take a gander at the instructions. So this is the whole bottom part. You check it all out. Your extruder's already attached. A lot of the wiring is free to be plugged in. So we'll just take it all out real quick. It should have all the tools I need. The first thing that you're going to want to do is on the power supply, wherever you live, you're going to want to switch the juice over. It looks like they come normally on 230 volts. I'm going to move it down to 115 volts. I have a pair of clippers here just in case we need them. Don't know if we will or not. So, on the top you have the base. You have a couple of support bars. I'm assuming these are the two side bars. The Ender 3 screen. I know there's all kinds of versions of the Ender 3 or ones that are based off the Ender 3. This is just one of them. So, in the bottom you'll see, yeah, this is for the filament, there's some parts, there's a Z-axis motor, I think. Not totally sure yet. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Yeah, because I assume that, yeah, this is Y, this is X, this is your extruder. So I assume this is the Z-axis. I thought there was the two, but we'll figure that out in a minute. So we'll take everything out, get it all nice and set up. Comes with a scraper to pop your things off the build tray. Power cable. There's a few more bars here. So some of these, two of these bars are probably for the X-axis, and the rest are probably for the Z. I assume these are Z and that's X because there's 4 and 2. And whatever this is. We'll figure it out as we go. Make sure everything else is done. I like the way this kit is packaged. It's all packaged very well. I'd be surprised if it actually got damaged or anything in shipping. But so this is sitting on the inside here. This must be, yep, this is your Z-axis rod. There's probably, yeah, looks like it only has one. So I'm more used to the ones that have 2 motors for the Z-axis, but it doesn't matter because this one runs on linear rails. So, alright, let me get this all organized and then we'll continue on. Okay, so just gonna put this out of the way for the moment. So you can see all these cables coming through here. I know that there's been some talk about these connectors being counterfeit, things like that. These ones are definitely soldered. You can see they put the wire in and then there's this, like a solder pool in there. So I'm not even going to cut those open. So if these were crimped together, which you should be able to see, if not you can cut this little thing off and then just put a piece of electrical tape over it if you need to. But if they were crimped, you'd want to either return this or cut these wires, put them together, or put some real connectors on here because you don't want this to catch on fire. So the next thing, we're going to start out, we want M5 by 45. That's these guys. M5 by 45. And it did come with a pair of clippers, so I didn't even need these ones. All kinds of Allen wrenches, Allen keys, a couple little wrenches, a couple little pieces. So, step one. I need 4 of these with a lock washer on each one of them. Looks like there's total 6 of them. And let's see. Take these side pieces. Okay, so one of these, the one with the hole a little bit higher on it, goes on this side. The one with the hole a little bit shorter goes on this side. And it looks like you just put the screws right up through the bottom. So yeah, put this up like this. Put 2 of these with the lock washers on. And through. We put the bottom one in first. So all we did right there was we put this guy, and you can see the hole there. I'm following the directions. It's just showing this back piece, which is that. And this one has the hole here and here. And this one, which is the guy you see right here, goes on the other side. So if you see there and there, we're gonna put this other one in. Make sure you have your lock washer on there. So what my plan is with these 3D printers, like I said, I have an ANET A8 here, and I use that thing all the time. It prints really well, actually. It's got lots of modifications to it. I'll probably go through that one day with you. I plan on using a lot of these for modification. Like, I could show you a million things we have around the house that we use 3D printing for. If you look at the fish tank right behind, you can see 3D printed stuff in there. But we have things like coat hangers. In the bathroom, we have a thing to hold loofahs or whatever. Like, it's all over the place. We use it for everything now. So this one, I just want another one that's reliable. So I'm gonna use this just to, they're both gonna do stuff like print things. I want to print some, like, one of the things I want to do first is I'm gonna design some hooks for the our Nissan Frontier for the back seat, so when you're shopping you can hook your bags right to it on the back seat. Excuse me. You can hook your bags to it on the back seat, so they're gonna hang from the headrest, and there's gonna be hooks that come out. And when you're shopping, you just take the bags, you hook them right over it, and go on with your life. It's just so that way they don't fall out the door and things like that. Like, I want to use it for modifications to things we do. You know, like, you do a lot of automotive stuff. In the past, I have some videos of doing an intake on a Predator 212cc or a Subaru motor, Subaru Robin motor. It's got intakes. You could 3D print the intake however you want it, modify it. Some of those files still exist, I think, on Thingiverse that I made. And you can use that. You can use 3D printing for any of these things. There's a million possibilities, but I love 3D printers. I'm interested in this one. I just decided I wanted another inexpensive one that probably will perform well. If you do some research, obviously, the Ender 3 is the way to go. So, for now, let's continue on. Step 2. That was pretty easy. Step 1. We're going to put the screen on front. This is yours. M5 by 8. I got everything labeled really well. Like, see, M5 by 8. Let me put it this way. The ANET A8 is 10 times harder than this one to assemble. I can tell you that from experience. The ANET A8 has its own issues that you have to address right away. Like I say, I love that printer, but you have to know what you're doing with it, because if you don't, you will there's a potential you can burn your house down with it. So mine has Marlin firmware to combat some of those things, and it's got MOSFETs on it. So that way you can stop it from burning out the board as well. So I'm going to put this on, which is just 2 screws. It's M8 or M5 by 8. That's just screws right up to the front. Pretty simple. And I want you to put the power supply up on the side. There's an M4 by 20. I don't actually see it. Oh yeah, it's right here. M4 by 20. It says 2 pieces. It just doesn't show a picture of them. So it shows a picture of all the other ones. That's the only reason why I'm questioning this. Pretty sure this is the same power supply that's on the ANET A8 as well. The ANET A8 comes with it not open like this. It doesn't actually have a power plug. You just wire the power plug directly to it. You can modify that. Some of them have it, some of them don't. But I guess it's a slower printer, the ANET A8, but I actually really like it. But it's not a beginner printer by any means. This one I think is more of a beginner printer. Okay, so I did that. It says make sure you check your voltage. Don't forget to do that. Flip the switch to whatever you do. I'm in North America, so it's 115 volts here. A lot of other places it's 220. Now we need this little guy, Z-axis limit switch. And that goes on that side. Turn. You're going to have to loosen these. This came pre-assembled. You'll have to turn these to get them into the... actually, why even do that? You don't even have to. If you could put them up through the top. So what you're doing is you want to get those little nubs this direction. And you want to slide them down however you can get them started. If you have them the other way, it's not going to hold anything. So you want to get it like that. I'm assuming you want this all the way down. All the way as straight as you can get it. Okay, so that's there, and this should be this plug. Yep, so Z. So while you're here, I would assume you'd want to plug this in. There's just a little tiny plug that goes right into the back of the Z-axis limit switch. Okay, so that should be good. Blah blah blah. Now they want this motor, M4 by 18, which is the other one that I have, M4 by 60. Yep, it's this one, there's only 2 of them, M4 by 18. And they also want us to have the Z-axis screw. So this goes, you gotta flip the thing around. This goes straight in for these, there's screw holes in this door. They go right in here, up, down. Which side do you want? Looks like this one. Okay. Getting this started. easy actually. I was expecting some trouble lining that out. I would also recommend before you really start printing with this, go through and tighten up everything else. Because from the factory, who knows, these things get shipped a long distance, so there might be some loose screws, and I'll probably do that afterwards. But all these ones that came, they should be checked to make sure they're tight, because if you have any issues printing, things like that, more than likely it's from a screw that's not tight enough. Things are loose, things are moving, you might be getting layer shifts, things like that in prints. More than likely it's all related to something being loose in the beginning. I mean, if there's a million other things that can happen. I mean, this belt seems actually pretty good that came from the factory. I'm surprised that, like I say, I think this is a pretty good kit. Like I said, I'll leave the link below. This wire, I believe, is for the display, so it doesn't actually show that here, but I'm assuming that's for the display, so I'm going to route that over there. Now it just comes out down here. My guess is it plugs into one of these 3 ports on the back of the display. We'll cross that bridge when the time comes. Then we got these. I'm assuming this is for, I can actually tell you. That's the extruder, one of them is the X, 2 of them are the X. One of them's got to be the X limit switch. This is the X limit switch, this is the X motor, and this is the extruder motor. So that comes up probably over here as we get further on. This wire is what plugs in over here. I'm just going to do that now. Obviously these connections are all, you know, common sense plugs in. Okay, so they want this in next. This just goes straight in this. And you get it down. I think you're supposed, this is not a movable one. Some of these in other printers, they're movable, so you want to leave a little room in the bottom. But since this one doesn't move, it's solid, you could probably let this one go right down to the bottom. So let's go like this. Tighten that guy up. There's another one there. I would say check the other one that's here. Make sure it's tight. There's 2. Yeah, no one went a little bit, so I'd say good idea to check, make sure. Don't go too crazy with these, you probably could break something. Alright, so we're done with the front page. Now, step 5. We're taking this guy and one of these. Are these exactly the same? They're not. So which one am I looking for? I'm looking for the one with 3 holes. So on these, there's one's actually a bit longer than the other. We're looking for the one with 3 holes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on either side. So it's got 6 holes total. Yep. And we're going to figure out the direction. We also need one of these Bowden extruder tubes. So this little guy, it's a Bowden tube clip. I don't know if they have a more precise name than that, probably. They just attach on here. Tighten it, don't go crazy. I hear that in these kits, the Bowden tube that comes with it, which I don't even see it. We'll figure that out as we go. I'm sure it's here. Oh, duh. It's attached to this. This Bowden tube, I hear it's not the best quality. There's too much wiggle room on the inside, so that might be something that we'll upgrade in the near future. So next, look at this. So this, they show. Okay, so you see this? There's a cutout. The cutout is so it can sit over top of that screw, so it goes that direction. And then you have to get 2 of these screws in here. They are M4 by 16. Which is these guys. So I'll have to put that back on. M4 by 16, and they have lock washers on them, so you have to pull out 2 lock washers and put them on these. Let's figure out which Allen key you need. Assuming it's this one. This should be fun to get these started because this is like inside. Am I confused? Yeah, I'm doing it right. It's confusing because they give you a weird angle on that picture. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go through, and they have holes through the top. Let's see if we can get a good view of that. If you can get it started. Alright, now I got it started. So, you see that? Make sure when you line this up you have the one that's cut out just like this. And that matches with over here. And the 2 shorter holes, they go in there. And you have to go through the top piece of metal to tighten this down. This is one of those spots, like I was saying a couple minutes ago. You'll probably have to keep an eye on this, make sure these stay tight. I'm going to put them in and then tighten it down real good. And that's a little out of alignment. You're going to have to make sure your alignment is good, otherwise the second one is not going to go in. You can see the same thing. Go through the hole, tighten this up, and then I don't know if there's going to even be enough room to stick this in there to torque them down. Yeah, there is. So you can stick it in like that. Give it a good twist. Remember, these aren't the best Allen wrenches, so if you pull them too tight, you'll probably bend the Allen wrench, which I'm sure I already did. Okay, we'll give that a nice tightening. And that's the other thing, there might be some, when we get to that point, there might be some wiggle room here, what goes where, like how tight things are. We might need to make adjustments, loosen these up, pull it out a little bit just to get things straight. We don't know. This is a new to me machine, but my guess is there might be a few things that we have to look at. Okay, so next we got to put the belt on to this. Should be this guy right here. They put a nice crimp down on these. I have tons of this belt as spares for other printers around, but they don't have this crimp on the end, so that's interesting. Yeah, it's a 2GT belt. So we do. We're going to put this is going to run in between this channel here. This is the motor right over here. So what you're going to do is run the belt through, just like that. It's not going to be perfect right now because it's not attaching to anything, you're just putting it in place. They want you to pull it around, which I feel like we're missing something. Yeah, there's going to be a roller of some sort over here, so they just want you to do that for the moment. And there'll be something over on this side in a minute, I'm sure. Yep. Yeah, the next step is the roller arrangement, which should be this. This doesn't actually have the roller on it. Yeah, it's going to be, this little piece is the roller for the end. They want you to put this on first, it looks like. Alright, so we'll get this ready. This is for step 8. Step 7 is this. So we are going to be putting this on this side. It's going to go like this. This is the same thing, the little cutout. That's because here, that's going to fit into that hole. Let me get these guys. Same screws we just used, M4 by 16. Just drop them down there. Once you get it aligned, lightly bring them down. Like I said, you may have to make some adjustments to these to get it to roll perfectly. I'm going to leave these ones, I'm going to say loose, but I'm not going to tighten them down like I tighten the other side, just in case we have to make an adjustment. So I'm going to leave these like that. We'll come back through if we need to. Now next step is, they want the extruder housing goes on here next, before we do that last step. So this is going to sit on here like this. Let's do that just to look at it for a second. So assume this is going to go like this. Yeah, it is. So we'll go like, I'm just doing it this way so that I can make sure I have everything nice and lined up. I almost think you have to put this on afterwards. I messed up. Okay. So this has to go on before this piece. So let's loosen this guy up. Let's take it off all the way. It's good I didn't tighten it down like crazy already. They're just too long, these end pieces, for it to fit on without it. I'm assuming loose will work. Alright, so now we know the orientation. Should be able to slide that right on, see? That's pretty nice. Okay, so now we'll lightly tighten these guys up. Okay. So now we've got to attach. I think they want me to do this. Is this just like that? Okay, so you gotta make sure this belt is underneath this. You can put it through afterwards, there's enough room there. So slide that belt through. And then what you're gonna do, make sure there's no twists. You slide the belt through this clip, and that should hook it in there. And then you do the same thing here. I'm hoping this isn't too hard to follow. So you're gonna push this in here, and that just sits there for right now. And what we're going to do next, the next step, is we're going to put the tensioner on this side. So before we go anywhere else, I'm going to take this guy, make sure it's lined up right. I think this is this one. Yep, this. So loosen these up a little bit. This is your bearing that this actually rolls on. So I have a feeling I'm going to have to finagle this to get it to line up. How do they show it? So we'll put it in. Make sure you loosen these a little bit because these are too tight to fit in here. You gotta get the belt over it at the same time. That's what's gonna be fun here. So I don't know if it's not possible to get that way. So make sure when you put these in, they go the correct direction. And we'll pull the belt so it's off to the side. So as I'm putting these in, I'm going to tighten them up a little bit because they're not staying the direction I want them. So what I'm going to do next, maybe the fun part, I think I'm going to unhook one side of this, get this generally set up, and then I'm going to rehook this. I'm going to put this upright, make sure everything's where it should be, and then I'm going to hook this in place because they're showing to hook the belt on. I can't get this to go around there without that, so I would say do it the way I just did. Unhook one side, put this in. You're going to have to tighten this down after you tighten it up. So keep it all loose. You have to pull some tension on this. And then you have to tighten it down. I like to keep my belts pretty tight on stuff like this because if you don't, they don't tend to work totally right. Once they start loosening, you'll get layer shifts when this thing skips a step. So you definitely want them tight. You can always come back and loosen up these two screws and pull it a little bit tighter if you have to. I think this is actually pretty good. Alright, so that's that. This should be your whole top piece. So they say next step. Did I skip anything? Nope. Next step is put this guy on. It's easier said than done. Make sure you align this. I feel like that's pretty tight. There it goes. Okay, so once it's in there good, this is where I question. You're going to have to look at how angled these are, if they're angled at all. I almost think I'm going to loosen this side a little bit and just see if it straightens out at all. It's not actually bad. So screw this guy up a little bit. I'm going to loosen these just so it can sort of go to where it wants to go. Yeah, it just pulled out a little bit. And then I'm going to retighten this. And we'll call that good for now. After a few prints, we'll see how everything's working. Okay, so that's the next step. So now it should, yeah, down is always easier than up. That looks pretty good. Okay, so this Bowden tube is going to go here. There you go. You got to push that in. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that yet. I probably should read the directions first. Yep, so that's good. Why don't you put the top bar on? That may affect this too, so let's put the top bar on and see. This uses the M5x25s. And if you look at this, you're going to want to put the holes up, because that's where the heads are going to fit. That looks pretty good. It's the M5x25. A few of these. So I'd say it's a little bit of plastic. So start in here. Yeah, it seems actually pretty lined up. It's not too bad. It's off a little bit. So what I'm going to do, they're close. They're like really, really close. Look at this one. I'm going to loosen this up again. As I brought it up, it's leveling, it's straightening it out, so don't need to adjust anything. It's so close. Yeah, I pulled it right in. So what I'm going to still do, I'm going to loosen these just a little bit and let it spring into the place it wants to be at. Help it by this loosening and not tightening. So once this is in, you should be able to tighten that up for your final time, because this is pulling everything exactly where it needs to be. So yeah, as you would assemble this, it doesn't say anything about it. I would just leave this side loose until you get everything all assembled. And then give it a quick tighten at the end, and you should be good. So I'm still going to have to figure out how to wire it. It looks like the last step has all the connection points, and it gives you an angle of where it is. So do that there. Let's tighten this guy up good. You can always go back, tighten these up more after it gets used a little bit. I do like this design. This is a nice thing. And I know there's like 30 other printers right now that are using this very similar design to this. For your money, I think this is a good decision. I am interested in the CR10 as well, or the CR10S, because they're bigger printers. We'll maybe in the future we'll check those ones out as well. I usually don't have to print things super humongous, but or you can print them, you know, in pieces, glue them together, acetone, weld them together, things like that. All right, so that looks good. Let's do the final tightening on this. Now we know it's generally where it needs to be. And we should check our belt tension too. It feels okay. I have a feeling this was supposed to go. Oh, that's alright. That should work. Yeah, that'll be fine. Alright, let's see what the next step is. Alright, so that's that. Last step is the mount for the filament. I'm actually not going to put this on. This is totally up to you. I believe. Okay, so if you want to put this on, it comes with the stuff to do it. You would need these guys and these, and it just goes in the rail wherever you want it. I'm going to be using a bar above this that has filament on it. So I'm going to leave this off for now. I'll keep the parts in case I decide I want to do it somewhere else, or I decide I'm going to put it in another location, but that's that. So now we're going to do the wiring real quick. You can see this one. This should be Z. They're all labeled. So here's Z. Make sure you got enough slack. Z goes in here. And then most of this goes up here. I'm sure they want you to zip tie this to this wire. So this is your, this is the X. This should be the extruder. Has a little E for extruder. And this should be your limit switch, which is in here. So the limit switch is actually in this hole right here. So you're going to push that in a little bit. You may want to use a pair of pliers. I think I can probably get that with one of these. My limit switch is a little crushed. So, but as long as it makes connection, it doesn't matter. It's not the limit switch, excuse me. This plug is a little crushed. We'll see. As long as that works, That should be good. What else? We gotta do display. They say to plug it into EXP3, which is the third one in. So if you look down here, EXP3 is the furthest one to the left. Are we forgetting anything? We did the extruder, we did the main power before, Y limit switch, which is plugged in already, Y motor, Z. Okay, so I'm going to put the zip ties on the wires. It also comes with, I'm not sure what these are, but I'm not going to, oh, these must be covers for the front. These are for this. And USB drive. It even comes with a nozzle cleaner. Okay, so I got it all working. The bed is heating up. I have it connected to Octoprint, which is off of Raspberry Pi. Just set it to 210 and 60. It's heating up. Bed is almost heated all the way. These clips, I don't think they're going to last in my eyes. I have 3 on there. The other one I launched across the room when I was doing just testing everything. So for now, I'm just printing. It's a little car ramp, something I made for my daughter. I wanted to just run a test print and let's see what happens. So far, so good. This printer will need to be calibrated and everything, so this is just total test. I'm leveling it as I go because I don't know how flat this thing actually is. If you eyeball it, it's not flat, but it's not too far off, I guess. So yeah, that's probably the end of this. I'm gonna let this go, and yeah, you'll see this in more videos coming up. But yeah, went together really easy. It took about an hour, and it seems to be working fine out of the box. There's nothing wrong with it that I can see. It's gonna take me a little while to get this bed completely leveled, and yeah, and I think another day I'll talk about this ANET and the modifications I've done to it, and I'll talk about this a little bit more when I had some time with it. Alright, so I'll see you in the next one.